Underground Bunker. This is your proprietor. It's been a little while since I've been out here. Gets go damn. I'm giving you an update. Sorry about that. Had some other things going on. What a week this week at the Underground Bunker. Wow. And if you're just seeing this on YouTube, what we're talking about is TonyOrtega.substack.com. Come sign up for free emails and you get all of our news. And what a week of news it was. Finally, you know, we're getting close to this Danny Masterson retrial. And both sides are jockeying for a position. And then Judge Olmedo made a bunch of rulings this week that set up this new trial. Really interesting seeing your responses to that. Yeah, generally, the prosecution got a lot of things it wanted, and the defense did not get things that it wanted. In particular, you know, what we're looking for is what are they going to do different this time? What are they going to do to avoid the problems that came up that ended up in a mistrial last time? And, you know, one thing that we know, I think personally, is that it was the prosecution didn't really put together a narrative for these jurors. You know, it was kind of piecemeal, kind of disjointed, particularly with the law enforcement people. And I think the story of these women and what they went through kind of got lost in that. So how is the prosecution this time going to kind of piece things together in a more compelling story? Because look, I know jurors are doing their best to look at the evidence, but they want to be told a story. You know, they want a narrative. They want to feel like, you know, they're serving justice. Well, one hint of what it looks like the prosecution's going to try to do is do more emphasis on the drugging angle. Now, these women can't really testify to anything differently than they did last time. They can say, for example, with Jane Doe 1, that she had not had anything to drink when she went to Masterson's house that night. He gave her a red fruity drink, and after that, she was suspiciously intoxicated to the point where she was barely staying conscious. That's all she can do. She can't say what might have been in that drink. She can't even say, I think I was drugged. But the inference is there, right? And she can do that again this time. But the difference is they're going to bring in an expert, it looks like, who's going to say, based on that testimony, it looks like she was drugged. And that will add some emphasis to it, to something that everybody, of course, was paying attention to last time, but it'll put more of a point on it. It'll give it more of a narrative. And so the other thing I think they're going to do to bolster that is bring in Jane Doe 5. Jane Doe 4 was Trisha Vesey, the actress Trisha Vesey, and she, you know, obviously described a situation that was sounded very, very much like drugging. Jane Doe 5 is this woman from Toronto, Kathleen Jenkins, that we first told you about at the Underground Bunker. She had said something on Twitter. We reached out to her, and she told us her story on the record. And, yeah, her allegations from the year 2000. Remember, Trisha Vesey is 1996, so Kathleen's not the one with the oldest allegations. But she said it was in the year 2000. She was in Toronto. She was at a she does, like, props, I think, property stuff for the films. And they were at a cast party for Dracula 2000. And there was another party next to it. I can't remember the details right now. But anyway, the point was Masterson was there, along with some other actors. And her allegation is more overt that she believed he drugged her. So you're going to add her allegation in to Jane Doe 1, 2, and 3, and Trisha Vesey, all of whom have stories of being suspiciously intoxicated after Masterson gave them something. And, well, Jane Doe 3's is more that she drank wine and suddenly she couldn't remember the next day, and she can't specifically say it came from Masterson. But the other four, all say it was directly after they were given something to drink by Masterson. And then they're going to bring in this expert to say, yeah, that sounds like they were drugged. I think that will definitely add a narrative element to this testimony and make it more cohesive. That definitely seems like an improvement to me. On the other hand, you know, Cohen got in Detective Reyes, who's going to be able to testify to what she says are inconsistencies in what these women said in 2017 and what they're saying now. And as we saw in the first trial, Cohen made the most of that, and it was effective. So, gosh, I just feel for these women that they have to go through this all over again and have to be cross-examined by this guy Cohen. But I will be there. I got my flight moved. Jury selection starts on Monday, April 17th. Yeah, I'll be there that first day with my badge. What else? I'm trying to think what other rulings that came out that were kind of important. I mean, those are the major ones. And of course, with Scientology, I know that you probably maybe saw some media coverage where they were talking about Scientology being allowed. Well, Scientology was talked about last time. The biggest difference that I saw that I'm actually really interested in. Yes, they'll be able to testify about Scientology policies. And the big difference, again, with adding a narrative is they're bringing in Claire Headley to be the expert on Scientology. They tried last time. Judge Olmedo said no. Very good question I was asked by a reader. What's different this time? Why would Olmedo allow it this time? Shorpy had a really good comment, and he said that Judge Olmedo is interested in justice. She's not trying to make a certain outcome happen, but she's interested in justice. And if the jurors are not understanding the Scientology aspect, then maybe it is important for an expert to come in and make them aware. That doesn't mean that it's going to convince them to vote for conviction, but she wants them to understand the terminology and the policies, and that's a big improvement too. I'm really happy that Claire Headley is going to testify as an expert. But also there was something else I wanted to point out that I think is really interesting. At the end of the first trial, the one thing that drove me the most crazy was that defense attorney Philip Cohen kept hammering at that 2003 report Jane Doe 1 submitted, or that Jane Doe 1 wrote that was submitted into court. And yeah, there are differences in what she wrote in 2003 and what she's saying today. But as I kept pointing out, that 2003 document was written for Scientology officials and with the influence of Scientology officials. That document is totally suspect. You can't rely on that document for anything. And it surprised me that the prosecution didn't hammer that home, because Cohen went to town with that document. Well, in her rulings, when Judge Olmedo said she was going to allow testimony about Scientology, just like she did last time, she singled that out and said that that document was written with Scientology officials in mind, and that's the kind of thing that an expert could point out. So I think that's amazing that the thing that was driving me most crazy last time, Judge Olmedo has singled out as problematic. Now, does that mean the prosecutor is going to take that cue and hammer that home this time? I don't know. I sure hope so. I mean, even the judge is pointing it out. So, lots of stuff to think about. It's coming up fast. And yeah, I hope you're there to check out my daily reports once this thing gets going. I'm going to do my best once again to just type up everything everybody says in court. Looking forward to it. All right. From Kensico Dam in New York, this is your proprietor signing out.